Hello everyone, I just want to make an impromptu video of a verse that he used quite often, but that the meaning is not properly applied. And the verse that I'm talking about is 2 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 3. The King James Bible, before I go on and do this, I just want to tell you that I'm a fan of King James Bible, but I also know that it is not a perfect Bible. It has its flaws. It has its mistakes. So having said that, let me go on and read the verse here. But I fear lest by any means as the serpent beguiled Eve through its subtlety, so your mind should be corrupted from the simplicity that is in Christ. What is wrong with this verse? Well, the verse here towards the end is the simplicity that is in Christ. And it actually should have been towards Christ, to Christ. And I'm going to show you that is indeed the case. So in order for me to do that, let's go to the Strong's Lexicon and look at this Greek. I am afraid, however, that just as Eve was deceived by the serpent's cunning, your minds may be led astray from your simple and pure devotion to Christ. To Christ. Okay? It doesn't say the simplicity that is in Christ. It is pure devotion to Christ. So let's read some of these parallel Strongs, and I'm going to read a few verses here from other versions. Let's go to Holman Christian Standard Bible. But I fear that as the serpent deceived Eve by his cunning, your minds may be seduced from a complete and pure devotion to Christ. Let's go to New American Standard Bible. But I'm afraid that as the serpent deceived Eve by his craftiness, your minds will be led astray from the simplicity and purity of devotion to Christ. And once again, the King James Bible will come back here, and let's read once again if it means what it means here. But I fear lest by any means, as the serpent beguiled Eve through its subtlety, so your mind should be corrupted from the simplicity that is in Christ. And this is not the right, correct understanding here. Let's go to English Standard Version. But I'm afraid that as the serpent deceived Eve by his cunning, your thoughts will be led astray from a sincere and pure devotion to Christ. It makes a huge difference, that subtle change in Christ, simplicity in Christ, and something that is a pure devotion to Christ. I hope you're understanding what I'm saying. So I thought of this, but I just want to see if somebody shared the same thoughts here. So I decided to go to the comments, commentary, and I came across to this commentary here. McLaren's Expositions. Okay, and it really addresses the point, directly to the point. It's a simplicity towards Christ. 2 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 3, the Revised Version amongst other alterations reads, the simplicity that is towards Christ. The inaccurate rendering of the Authorized Version is responsible for a mistake in the meaning of these words, which has done much harm. They have been supposed to describe a quality or characteristic belonging to Christ or the gospel, and so construed they have sometimes been made the watchword of narrowness and of intellectual indolence. Give us the simple gospel has been the cry of people who have thought themselves to be evangelical when they were only lazy, and the consequence has been that preachers have been expected to reiterate commonplaces which have made both them and their hearers listless, and to sync the educational for the evangelistic aspect of the Christian teacher's function. It is quite true that the gospel is simple, but it is also true that it is deep, and they will best appreciate its simplicity who have most honestly endeavored to fathom its depth. When we let our little sounding lines out and find out they do not reach the bottom, we begin to wonder even more at the transparency of the clear abyss. It is not simplicity in Christ, but towards Christ of which the apostle is speaking. Not a quality in him, but a quality in us towards him. I wish then to turn to the two thoughts that these words suggest. First and chiefly, the attitude towards Christ, which befits our relation to him, and secondly and briefly, the solicitude for its maintenance. And this commentary goes on, and it is quite long. And if you're interested in really digging deep, you can go and read the rest of this explanation, which is quite long. Okay, so I just want to leave you with that so that you will meditate on this and study on this, see if I'm telling you the truth or not. But this verse, 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 3, is not interpreted correctly. It is not the simplicity that is in Christ, but from the simplicity and purity of devotion to Christ, which makes a lot of difference in our understanding. Thank you for your time, and until next time,